Hello everybody, Ben Woodruff here with another falconry video. In this video we are going to be learning about the black-chested buzzard eagle, which is also sometimes known as the Chilean blue eagle. Now it is kind of the king of all the buzzard eagles. There's 3 buzzard eagles, 2 of them have hawk in the name, but they're buzzard eagles, and that is the white-tailed hawk, the variable hawk, and of course the one we're talking about in this, which is the black-chested buzzard eagle. Now I did a video covering the whole genus, covering all 3 species, but it's a very long video, and I thought, you know, if somebody's out there and just wants to learn just about the black-chested buzzard eagle, I ought to break that up. So you're about to see the clip cut from my long-form video. This will just be about black-chested buzzard eagles, and if you would like to watch the whole video with all 3 species, I'll have a link to it down below in the description. The black-chested buzzard eagle. Black-chested buzzard eagles are the largest member of the genus Geranoaetus, and so they're largest of the buzzard eagles, and the only one that has buzzard eagle in its name. Its 2 smaller cousins, of course, the white-tailed hawk and the variable hawk, have the term hawk in the name, but they should be called the white-tailed buzzard eagle and the variable buzzard eagle, and then this is the black-chested buzzard eagle. Now, in recent years, this large species has started to be called the Chilean blue eagle by some people, which sounds kind of noble. It's the size of an eagle. Sure, let's call it the Chilean blue eagle. But now I used to start to call it that, and I used to refer to it that, but now I don't. Because, first of all, it lives in far more places than just Chile. It lives all throughout South America. It pretty much lives just about everywhere in South America except in the Amazon basin. Anywhere where you could have some open country, whether it's the high Andes or whether it's, you know, the lowland country, you could find these. They're very adaptable and they've ranged wide. So it's not a Chilean species. It lives all over, and also it's not an eagle. It's a buzzard eagle. And again, if you're in the United States, the term buzzard makes you think of a vulture. It's an incorrect term. Buzzards are soaring hawks, like the common buzzard of Eurasia. Look, we would think it's a hawk, okay, like a red-tailed hawk. So buzzard eagle is kind of like saying what Americans would say hawk eagle. And so I think the black-chested buzzard eagle denotes truth, which is the fact that this bird has adapted from smaller species that have gotten larger. And again, its closest cousins, the white-tailed hawk and the variable hawk, you know, you see bigger, and finally biggest. Now, a black-chested buzzard eagle is a substantial bird. Their wingspan is about 6 feet 7 inches. That's sizable. And their weight is up to 7 pounds. So this is a proper eagle-sized bird. And again, we have to be careful because using the word eagle, a true eagle is an aquila eagle, which means it's in the golden eagle family. But again, we use the term eagle for all other kinds of birds, like harpy eagles are not technically eagles. Bald eagles are not technically eagles, but we still use the term mostly denoting their size. So the same thing here. This bird is eagle-sized, and so I think the black-chested buzzard eagle is a perfect term for it. And so I went from calling them black-chested buzzard eagles to starting to roll with everybody else calling them Chilean blue eagles, and now I'm like, no, there's nothing wrong with buzzard eagle. I can't help it that America associates the term buzzard with vultures. They're not related to turkey vultures. Don't view them that way. So buzzard eagle is what they are, and I think it's a perfect term for them. They are proper size. They're a powerful bird. There are 2 subspecies of these, and they're pretty close. They're pretty close in appearance. The eastern black-chested buzzard eagle is larger, and it kind of has a plain white belly. Basically, there's no barring. The math is still there. When you get to the fringes up by the throat and stuff, you might, or on the flanks, you might see a little bit of the barring, but basically it's white-chested, white belly. And then the western black-chested buzzard eagle is smaller of the 2 subspecies, and it has fine barring all across its belly. But again, where these ranges overlap, you're going to have some of the same morphological characteristics on those feathers, but these are the 2 recognized subspecies. They have broad, oversized wings. So their secondaries are so long. So if you're looking at a wing, and if wings spread out, the secondaries are, you got the primaries and then you got the secondaries. The secondaries are so oversized that they line up with the tail. And this makes the tail seem short. If you read field guides about this bird or read descriptions online, they'll say, a very short-tailed eagle, blah, blah. It's like, no, not at all. It has a normal length tail, and it has oversized primaries, but it has ridiculously oversized secondaries, and they make the tail seem short. So I want to show you comparisons so you actually understand. We have this problem all the time. It drives me crazy with, especially, let me give you another example. I am a passionate researcher of the genus Buteogallus, which is the blackhawk lineage, from the black solitary eagle to the common blackhawk to all these birds. These birds have oversized secondary feathers, so when they're folded up, it covers most of the tail. And then in flight, you have to kind of line it up and see where the tail actually is. So this is another species. The blackhawk is another one where people always say, oh, they have a short tail. No, they don't. They have a ridiculously long tail. They just have ridiculously long secondaries that cover it up. And it drives me crazy. It's like you're looking right at it. And this is the same problem with these black-chested buzzard eagles. People say, oh, they have a short tail. No, they don't. They just have huge secondaries. Let's compare. Let's look at another species that actually has probably the shortest comparative tail of any raptor species, and that is the Bateleur eagle of Africa. Bateleurs are kind of the king of the serpent eagles. They have big wings, oversized primaries, but they have a ridiculously stumpy tail. And even walking around, you can see them. We don't know why, but they do. They have this tiny, stumpy little tail. And you see it with the wings. You see they do have big secondaries, but you see in flight how, okay, this is what it looks like to have an actually short tail. Even with those broad secondaries, this is what it actually looks like, is on a Bateleur. But they're nothing compared to these. Chilean blues have such oversized secondaries that it lines up and it makes the tail look short. But again, if you draw the lines and show where the tail goes up to, no, they have a long, proper-sized tail. So it's good to kind of see those differences and recognize them. Now, they do have a wedge-shaped tail. Kind of like a wedge-tailed eagle. You look at the wedge-tailed eagles of Australia, similar, but not as wedge-tailed, but still kind of pointing out that is unique in the genus, because the other members of this genus, the white-tailed hawk and the variable hawk, these two species have a normal tail, shaped like a red tail. But this one, the Chilean blue eagle, does have sort of a wedge-shaped tail. But again, remember, do not listen to the field guides or do not listen to the Wikipedia articles that say, oh, it's a short-tailed eagle. No, it's not. It's a long-tailed eagle with ridiculously oversized secondaries. So what this does, this makes an entire airfoil, it's like a fin that they can just glide with, almost like a bat. It just wraps around, and because it caters to the way they hunt. This is a bird that spends almost all its time on the wing. It lives in tremendously open country, and it's got to cover large ground to be able to find prey. So it doesn't have a lot of perches, so you just got to keep going and going and going. And having your secondaries so long that they line up with your tail, that's a good thing if that is your strategy for hunting. The black-chested buzzard eagle is a supreme hunter of a wide range of prey. It's very adaptable, and its range is varied. I mean, because it covers, from the high Andes to the lowlands. I mean, it covers a wide range, so you're getting a wide range of prey base. Its primary prey that it hunts are European hares, which have been introduced throughout South America, and they've done well. They've proliferated. And this is a good example. They're like, well, hey, okay, we're going to do this. You have the same kind of thing happen in Australia, where the wedge-tailed eagles normally are hunting things like kangaroos and wallabies and scavenging. And then humans brought European hares. And they're like, oh, hey, these things are breeding like rabbits. Literally, let's eat them all. Same thing. So black-chested buzzard eagles have actually benefited greatly by humans introducing European hares throughout South America. But left to their own devices without those things, they will hunt cavies, which are an interesting species. They'll hunt common dagus, which are another kind of interesting species. They'll hunt, how do I even pronounce it? I'm looking at my note here. Viscachas. That's right. Okay. I had to research these species because some of these, it's like, these things are weird. Viscachas, there's a few different kinds of viscachas. There's some that almost look like a cross between a rabbit and a kangaroo with a spirally tail. But there's some viscachas that are almost more rodent, like a ground rodent. They have like a weird stripy face. But there's several species of viscachas, and they will hunt these, and that's their normal prey base. So outside of the European hares that have been there, they will hunt several species of skunks. And you have to remember, most birds cannot smell at all. They have no use for it. Turkey vultures are a notable exception, but most birds have absolutely no sense of smell. So skunks, their primary defense is an olfactory spray. It's like, you come near me, I'm going to spray you with this horrible spray. And, you got these black-chested buzzard eagles like, ha ha ha, spray all you want, I can't smell a thing. And, skunks are predators. But they don't put up as much as a fight. They more rely on their smell. And so they provide good food for black-chested buzzard eagles. They will hunt other raptors, including, most notably, they have been seen to hunt burrowing owls. And I've worked with a number of burrowing owls over the years, and they're fast, but they're not as fast as a black-chested buzzard eagle. So they can just get clobbered by these things. Now, the species will also hunt a wide range of lizards and snakes. And that's good eating. So again, you think about where they live, these from Andean highlands to montane forests to lowlands, you're getting a wide prey base, and anywhere you're going to live, they're going to tackle whatever's available there, including scavenging. This is an active supreme scavenger, especially the high elevation ones, and they actively compete with Andean condors. Now, Andean condors are arguably the largest flying bird on the planet today. There's an albatross that might have a slightly longer wingspan, and the cinereous vulture of Europe, which used to be called like the great black vulture, also could contend for the size. But in the New World, for sure, the Andean condor is the biggest, and it's one of the biggest birds, if not the biggest flying bird in the world. Big, powerful members of the vulture family that evolved distantly from storks. So these things are huge, like up to a 12-foot wingspan. I've got some footage here from game cams of where you have Chilean blue eagles fighting and chasing Andean condors off of a dead animal. So if you have something scavenging, in nature we kind of glorify hunting. Oh, this animal is a hunter. It's a good hunter. Great, good, it's wonderful. Oh, if it scavenges, oh, that's beneath it. It's like, no, it's a free meal. You're a scavenger. You ever had a hamburger? Did you hunt down that cow? No. You scavenged a meal, an easy meal. So it's actually a very good survival strategy, and free meal is a free meal. So the thing is, during the Ice Age, which is very recent, just a few thousand years ago, there was so much megafauna in the New World that is gone now. There were horses, zebras, camels, llamas. There were 2 camels that were as tall as giraffes. There was 6 different species of buffalo. There was 7 different species of woolly elephant. There were a ton of different species of giant ground sloth. There were just huge animals roaming back and forth between North and South America and spreading out. Those things are going to die. Whether they're hunted or things, you have that many. If you have massive herds of buffalo, there were 14 different species of antelope. And, well, some of them are going to die of old age or sickness along the way. So being a scavenger is great. I'm just soaring around and I see, oh, look, 2 miles away, I see condors gathering up on a thing. Hey, let's go over here and let's, I'm going to scavenge and chase them off. And you see this same kind of dynamic playing out in the Old World. There are many giant species of vultures in the Old World, not related to condors, but filling the same role. And you have like tawny eagles and steppe eagles that will come in and fight you off and chase you off and take claim of this kill. So it's a good way to live, and it's amazing to see something, because again, it's odd that black-chested buzzard eagles will hunt prey as small as snakes and lizards and insects, but they'll also hunt full-size European hares. But we believe the inference is that their big size has nothing to do with hunting. The inference that has been made by biologists is that their enormous eagle-sized size is entirely due to needing to chase other larger scavengers like condors off of kills that they want to scavenge on, of dead megafauna animals. Now you got to think about it. Andean condors, 12-foot wingspan. Well, during the Ice Age, we also had teratorns, which were even bigger members of the condor lineage that, had up to, close like a 15 to 18 to 20-foot wingspan. Those were enormous. So if you're going to hold your own on a kill site and you're going to try to throw others off, you've got to have some size too. So in other words, the powers that be favored getting larger over time. And that makes sense, because other than that, all the things they hunt really are no different than their two close cousins, the white-tailed hawk and the variable hawk. Those are, big hawks that hunt, the exact same prey. So again, those two hawks will not try to chase off a condor, but a Chilean or a black-chested buzzard eagle will. And so again, we believe the real reason why they're so big has nothing to do with prey. It has to do with holding their own. And now you don't have the truly giant condors. You have Andean condors, which are enormous, but you don't have the extinct condor species. And so now they're like, yeah, I can just chase anything off. I don't care that you're bigger than me. Roar. You got to understand too, condors can bite hard, but that's it. They have size and they can bite hard. Condors' feet are just like chicken feet. They cannot grip, where Black-chested Buzzard Eagle has powerful feet and incredible gripping force. And so, again, it's really interesting to see this dynamic that condors indirectly probably shaped Black-chested Buzzard Eagles into getting bigger, favored, because the bigger ones were able to dominate a scavenged carcass and survive, where the smaller ones will get chased off by the condors, and so the bigger ones survived, pass on their DNA, and over time, you have bigger and bigger black-chested buzzard eagles. It's kind of neat to think of it from that perspective. Echoes back from the Ice Age. These species like to nest on cliffs. Typically, they will nest on trees, but usually you find them kind of on prominences on cliffs. They'll lay 1 to 3 eggs, which again, that is strange, because normally big birds only lay 1 to maybe 2 eggs, and smaller birds lay more eggs. And again, this is another indicator that likely the buzzard eagles of the New World, which is the white-tailed hawk, the variable hawk, and the black-chested buzzard eagles, these 3 buzzard eagles likely came from a smaller lineage and are moving larger. Where again, we have other instances like with the ornate hawk eagle of the New World that was from a bigger lineage that is favored getting smaller. So you're getting birds that are about the same size, but they're coming at it from different directions for different reasons. And again, the inference with black-chested buzzard eagles is the whole reason they're as big as they are is because of trying to have the ability to dominate a carcass. So these birds on their nests are very aggressive. They will aggressively defend their nests. This is odd in the raptor world. Most raptors, if you get there near their nest, they'll kind of make sounds at you. They might make a couple of passes at you, but for the most part, they don't do much. Now, of course, accipiters are an exception. So like a goshawk or Cooper's hawk, these are birds that will go and attack you. And these guys do it too. Black-chested buzzard eagles, they will attack you. They will dive and attack and be very aggressive near the nest, which is kind of interesting. Don't know why that is, as other closely related species are not that way, but that's where they are. Another interesting thing about this species, because you're covering an interesting range, crossing over even on the equator and stuff. You're getting into some tropical areas and some really cold areas for the same species. So some of them are very seasonal in their nesting, which of course, in deep South America, winter is what would be summer up here. So, their summer, they're nesting. But in the tropical regions, they'll nest any time of year. They'll just, with their mate, they'll be like, hey, okay, there's prey, let's start a family. There's enough to feed this family. That's unusual to have sort of a year-round nester. Not that they're just non-stop nesting, but the time of year they nest in their tropical parts of their range can be literally any time of year. Now, this species, the young birds, after they hatch and they start to grow up, the first-year birds are dark, just like the rest of this genus of Geranoaetus. They're dark, and it takes them 5 years to reach their adult colors. So that's no different than any other true eagle, like a golden eagle, or any other large eagle that is not a true eagle, but is eagle size, like a harp eagle. going to take them 3 years. The harp eagle is going to start with these white, kind of fluffy, bright colors, and then they go through several color morphs, and by the time they're 5 years old, 6 years old, they have their adult colors. It's the same thing with black-chested buzzard eagles, which again would lead a person to think that this is a big species that has cousins that are smaller. But again, genetics and the number of eggs they lay seem to indicate that these come from a small lineage that is getting bigger, which is kind of an interesting way to view it. It's interesting that how that works, that over time that, what will favor and what will kind of shape things. They, as a species, they have been used and tested in falconry. And I know throughout Europe, there's a lot of people who breed them. I know there's a lot of people in South America who keep them, use them in falconry. They have definitely been proven as a falconry bird. However, I've never flown one. I would love to work with one of these birds so much. It's just such an iconic symbol especially of South America. They're so cool looking. But what I've been told by people who have flown them is that they're ponderous, that they're kind of slow on the chase. Now, that if you had a really gamey red-tailed hawk, you would be catching more quarry than you would with a Chilean blue eagle. Now, in their defense, a Chilean blue eagle is a bird that just wants to hunt from a soar and then kind of, there's something, we're going to dive down and catch it. However, they're also capable of catching very fast, very agile species. The European hare currently is their largest prey base, and hunting hares, that's falconry of the highest order. So in the wild, they're doing what is considered falconry of the highest order. So the people I've talked to who have flown them, I don't know. I don't know what their experience is with buzzards, and so I don't know if they, needed to exercise them more, get them more keyed in on a prey base. But this is just what I've been reporting. And again, they will even hunt birds in the wild. So they can be very fast. They can be very agile. And they can hunt the prey that we would normally hunt within falconry anyways, which is European hares. So I don't know what to say, but I'm just reporting what I have been told by people I know who have flown them, that you would do better with a really gamey red-tailed hawk than one of these. But what a thrill it would be to actually work with an actual Chilean black-chested buzzard eagle. I keep almost saying Chilean blue eagle. Yeah, because so many people are trying to push that. But again, I think black-chested buzzard eagle is better because it's more accurate. They are buzzard eagles, and I think they're really cool. So a truly remarkable species. If I ever get a chance to interview somebody who's worked with one, I'd like to do another video like this, going into more depth and kind of explaining the species better from a first-hand experience. But I hope this overview is of value to you, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed this. Well, I hope you enjoyed learning about the buzzard eagles of the New World, the Geranoaetus genus. They're a fascinating group. It was fun to research them and kind of understand how people dispute which ones are species and which ones are subspecies. And if you've worked with any of these, please let me know down in the comments. And if you have one of these, any of these species, and would like to share and maybe collaborate and do a video, you can send to benwoodruffalconry@gmail.com. Send that there, and we can do a little interview and share your intake, your insights into these amazing species. So, but I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, if you could please hit subscribe. And as always, happy hawking.